Hello, my name is Madeline Friend. I'm a VP of Customer Success here at Centrical. With me today are two customers from Adidas who have won this year's Centrical Select Awards for the Nurturer. This award, which honors the organization that takes a people-first, holistic approach to employee well-being by fostering a workplace where employees feel supported, valued, and connected, is theirs for the taking. Their commitment to safety, health, and wellness has built a positive environment where people not only work but thrive. So again, congratulations. Today, we're going to talk about what's special about the platform that you've created, the solution that you've built for your employees. But first, before we get started, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your roles. So Amber, why don't we start with you?
My name is Amber Wood. I'm based in Amsterdam. I'm the Director of Learning and Development for our Global Consumer Services team.
Great. Jacob?
My name is Jacobo. I am a South African. I'm based in Spain. I'm on the L&D team reporting to Amber, and I created our onboarding program and implemented the LMS Centrical for our consumer service agents.
Fantastic. Great. Okay, let's get started. The first question is, what brought Adidas to Centrical? And what was the pain point or problem that you were looking to solve?
So at Adidas, what we look after as a global L&D team is we look after our consumer service agents for our e-commerce platforms. So all of our website and all of our apps. Those agents are unfortunately not Adidas employees. They are outsourced to third-party vendors. The reason we ended up with Centrical is when I started, we had a very interesting way of learning. It was called an LMS, but it did not function like one. So the first problem was there was no real depository for any information or any training for us that is centrally managed and universally used. The second problem, and the bigger one, was that because of our structure with external vendors, we had no standardized onboarding program for all of our agents. Every vendor was responsible for their own onboarding programs, which means onboarding looked very different from one vendor to the next, and also from one trainer within that vendor to the next. So those were the two reasons that forced me to approach my then manager before Amber arrived and explain that we needed a new LMS.
Great. And what stood out for Centrical for you?
What stood out for me was the usability of Centrical, the front end usability, the agent experience, the gamification of it, the fact that you could use it for so many ways to motivate learning within the agents, the coaching element of it, the kudos, the badges, the leveling up, all of that making the call center agents' life a little bit more exciting when it comes to learning. That's what stood out for me. And of course, what sold it to our regionals was the reporting abilities, the individual reporting ability, the way that we can see how things are being consumed, what is being consumed, and how we can affect that in conjunction with our KPIs.
Great. Now, Amber, I know you weren't there for the initial part of the ride, but you came along before the deal actually closed. And was there anything that stood out for you?
What stood out for me was just that ability for us also to personalize it, to make it really look and feel like Adidas. And for us, Adidas is all about the brand. We talk about the brand. And that's what we're trying to instill in our agents, is that sense of the Adidas brand, what it feels to represent us. And so the ability for us to be able to do that on a day-to-day and an individual small basis really made a difference. I also think it's amazing kudos for Centrical that when we put our final three forward, most people know when you're doing some sort of a process like this, you tend to put the one you're going for in the middle, and there's outliers on both ends, and every single market jumped at Centrical. They saw the value, even if it was a bit more of a premium than some of the other competitors we had. It was a no discussion. It was very clear that Centrical was the choice because of all of those things that Jacob talked about, the fact that we focus on contact center, the fact that we have the gamification, the reporting, the analysis, the personalization, the micro the micro gaming, the micro learnings, it all just came together in a package that made it the easiest sell I've ever seen.
That is wonderful to hear. Fantastic. As a winner of the Nurturer, describe in a few words the strategy or the initiative you undertook with Centrical to tackle your challenges. What was special about your objectives and what was the unique approach you took?
So yeah, as I said before, the bigger problem we had was our onboarding that wasn't a standardized onboarding and not scalable at all. So that was my initial project that I acquired LMS for, was to change the whole way that the onboarding was done, and introduce our new concept of learning into the organization as well. So we went with a approach of capturing the most or catering for the bigger amount of adult learners. And as we know, adults learn in different ways. So the concept we came up with was a learning, observing, the practice concept, where you have certain amount of content that is learned content in e-learning. Then you have observation where you see someone do it, and then you have a practice where you do it yourself. In that way, you sort of get a linear learning as opposed to a product or a tool learning all at once. You stretch a little bit the forgetting curve out a little bit, and you, as I say, you capture all those people that learn in different ways. So for me, Centrical was a central part of that, in that they would be hosting all of the e-learnings for our onboarding. So we created all these e-learnings as the base learning for the onboarding, which would then be supplemented by the live sessions, the observing, the practice sessions going forward. And we created the platform initially with the onboarding e-learning on there, so that our cohort of new starters can go through those e-learnings, progress per day, including their live sessions on there, as well as their tests and exams and assessments on that as well. That's what the vision was, and that's how we created it.
Okay, got it.
I would add on to that, our other part of our strategy was about timing and how we capture attention, because we knew our first step was to implement and get adoption of the LMS itself. And then later we were going to be adding the new onboard program that was written specifically to take advantage of what Centrical brings. So we knew, and we were also launching it just before what we would call our peak period, from, let's say, Diwali on through Christmas and New Year's, and then return season after that. Hugely busy time, and a huge amount of agents are hired in just for that peak series. So we needed something to really, we wanted to do a phased approach to introduce the LMS, but in a way that would prepare often these new agents for an overwhelming experience, but in a way that would be positive and help them see that there's great things going on. This is exciting. It's not just stressful, because obviously if you're in customer service, nobody's calling you to say, thanks, I got my order on time, it was fantastic. Nobody. And that was really a challenge, because we also knew we had one chance to get it right. If we didn't introduce this in a way that would make learners want to come back, feel engaged, we would lose them when we needed them the most. And so that was really what Jakob spent a lot of time thinking about, is how to drive both that phased approach from a delivery perspective, but also from an engagement perspective.
Got it. And so what were some of the reactions from the team when you did this?
Yeah, so yeah, Amber reminded me of how we started Centrical, because it feels like a million years ago. Yeah, we started Centrical, or we launched it within our peak period, or just before. So we initially created some material for our agents to go through to get them ready for peak, which included some self-care content, as well as some processes and procedures and things like that. And the initial reaction was overwhelmingly good. I mean, it did help the cause that what we had before was really bad. So everybody compared it to that. But everybody was very, very impressed with the gamification of it, the fact that they had a leaderboard, they could compete with each other, the fact that they could give each other kudos. The most amazing thing for us was the most popular thing in the first 4 or 5 months were the kudos. We had, in the first 3 months, we had something like 750 kudos given out between users, which was one of our objectives, was to start that culture of continuous feedback with each other. So that was amazing. So yeah, people absolutely love it, and to this day still the it's a testament of how much people enjoy using Centrical, is how our regions, the trainers within region are using it, and how much content they load on Centrical for their agents themselves as well. People just, yeah, they really enjoy using it a lot.
That's fantastic. And again, kudos to you for that, because our philosophy here at Centrical is if you put your frontline employees and outside employees at the center of your business will thrive. And you have done that very well, where you've made employees feel seen, you've made them feel appreciated, you've enabled them to share their appreciation with each other. And that goes a long way. When you have happy people, you're going to have a strong business. So
yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, the kudos and the badges are amazing tools to use to do that, exactly that, is to have these agents as the center of our world, of our Adidas world.
I love that.
And Jakob designed the kudos themselves and the matching awards to be based on the principles that we want to share. Our Adidas values about teamwork, about collaboration, about quality, about innovation, and about the brand, and about that je ne sais quoi, if you will, about, you know, what makes us us. And so that was really how those kudos were built. And even just the branding that goes around them really captured people's attention and helped them understand the values of our company and our brand in a way that nothing else can.
That's wonderful. Do you have any particularly favorite kudos or badges that you've created that really celebrate your brand, or that people have responded to?
For me, my favorites have been so with our onboarding, I created a few new badges, or a few new kudos, very, very much centered around our values. Well, pretty much it's kudos for our values, where new rookies have to start from onboarding already, awarding each other value kudos when they see the value being exhibited. And those were the funnest for me to create, and they are, for me, the nicest ones to get and to have, especially from the beginning, because that is part of our values. So yeah, I like those.
That's great.
The ones that are sort of centered on the continuous learning are also, because that's our desire, right? That's what we want to really bring to the table, that they feel an excitement, that they feel that there's always something more to learn. And that, again, because it's a phased approach, we have to be patient with ourselves, that we couldn't do it all at once. So we really wanted to build that concept of that continuous learning. And I see you learning. Great, keep going.
I love that. That's fantastic. Sounds amazing. Let's get to my favorite part, the results. What kind of results have you seen from your Centrical platform?
So in terms of the early adoption with the very limited product that we started with, which was the peak prep content, the results were amazing. We had 100% adoption rate, and we had 100% completion rate for all of our content. So for me, that was a very, very big, being in the industry for quite a while and understanding what your percentages of e-learning completion is normally. That was very, very impressive. I was very happy with that. The content wasn't really of a nature that we could assess impact on business. However, where I feel that we have succeeded, as I said, is where I see the number of, or the amount of content that our regions are putting on themselves, because this has always been a Adidas driven platform coming from the global Adidas team. However, the proof is in the fact that the local teams themselves create content and put it onto the platform, and there's a lot of that going on. In terms of more tangible results, we will get those from the onboarding. We only started the onboarding program like August this year, so in terms of evaluation, we are still going to be doing that coming forward. Initially, once again, the fact that we had cut down our onboarding from a 3-week full in-person presentation mode onboarding to this hybrid model of e-learning, observation and practice, and still churn out agents that are green in a shorter period of time, for me is quite a good indication that it's working. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the shorter period of time? So you said you went from 3 weeks in-person, complicated, to...
So as I said, unfortunately, the onboarding was quite varied from region to region. In general, it was a full in-person classroom kind of training, where there'd be a trainer, I hate to say a teacher, standing in front of the room, going through a presentation or going through a tool and showing them how to do it. Then there would be some sort of role plays and things like that to practice. Excuse me. What we introduced, and that was normally between a 2-week and a 3-week process. And then after that, there was nesting for like another 6 weeks. So they would go on production 2 or 3 months after they were employed, go into production, and then start ramping up to green from there. So their speed to green was roughly something about 12, 13, 14 weeks, right? Depending on each region. We had cut down the onboarding to the 2 weeks, which was the hybrid as well. So there was less time spent teaching a PowerPoint. And we've changed the way, firstly, that the groups consume content, but secondly, how the trainers would train as well. The trainers now became facilitators, where they would just facilitate a topic that they already learned about. So the observation and practice sessions could go much deeper into the topic, as opposed to trying to teach everything from the beginning and then not having enough time to go deep into the content. So that's how that's changed. They then go into the nesting period, which is now 3 weeks. So it's a 5-week onboarding program. And we see speed to green from about 9 to 10 weeks already after employment. So
Okay.
it's cut down speed to green, it's cut down the onboarding time and the nesting time, having them really faster.
That's fantastic. So you were 12 to 14 weeks. You're now around 9 to 10. 9 to 10. Got it.
And 3 weeks from onboarding. Oh, sorry, Jaco, please.
Go.
And also from the 3-week full-time onboarding instructor-led to the 2-week hybrid.
Yes.
And the other thing that I love as well is that 2-week hybrid has built in more time and connection with the team leads that they will have, as opposed to them being isolated from their team leads for those first 3 weeks and only really getting introduced to them later. We're bringing them into that process now to really make them feel, again, more at home, more connection with their team leads, and more of a chance to sort of sit with their team.
That is wonderful. I love that. What's next? What are the next things that you want to do with Centrical?
Take over the world. No. What we do next?
We're here for that, Jaco. We're here for that.
The next big 2 or 3 programs is the one is going to be building out our continuous learning content or course library. We have got our rookies on board now. We've got them with a really good onboarding program. We recognize that there are existing agents that did not go through this onboarding, so there's content that they can and should consume that would help them in their day-to-day. So we started creating a library of existing content, where we have taken the onboarding content and made it available for everyone else as well. That is in the process of being built and going on. We are, in conjunction with that, we are going to be starting some in H2 of next year. We're going to start with some certification programs as well. We will be creating programs that will certify agents to step up to the next level, or to be able to step up to the next level. We'll certify team leaders. We will certify quality assurance agents, and those kind of things. And then the second one that we are busy with, or that we're doing, is we will be integrating our KPIs into Centrical, which means there will be much greater opportunities for team leaders to get involved with the learning through the KPI monitoring and allocating learning through the or to improve KPIs. There should be a lot more feedback going around as well, with high performing KPIs being shared with the rest of the teams. So that's something we're excited about. And then there's a third project that we're working on with a partner in partnership that has been announced, right, Amber? Yes, so we are in partnership with Audi Revolut F1 team at the moment. So we will be creating content on Centrical as a separate part of Adidas for those agents that we will be training to service the Audi Revolut F1 team as well. So those are 3 very big projects I'm using.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And with all that in mind, it seems like next year you should be going for the high performer once you have those KPIs in there and you start seeing business taking off.
The gauntlet is thrown.
The gauntlet is thrown. All that and the World Cup next year. There's a lot going on. So that is wonderful.
And that I think also we have an opportunity to say, how do we gamify a little bit? How do we make the agents a little bit more excited about coming into the World Cup? there's going to be things they need to know. There's going to be probably the top 10 queries that they should expect during the World Cup. How do we prepare them for that? How do they know where to go? And how do we do that in a little bit of a fun way? So that's what the joy of Centrical is, that it allows us to do that pretty quickly. So we definitely, I can see us introducing that content in a very gamified kind of a way, and an opportunity to make the World Cup a little bit more fun. There's certainly, obviously, with all of the different countries wherein our agents are in around 20 countries right now. So plenty of opportunities to tie into the World Cup and a little bit of competition, because Adidas loves a little bit of competition as well. And the other thing that's not necessarily directly tied to Centrical, but I think really Centrical is at the heart of what we do, is what Jakob talked about, that certification. How do we ensure all this work that we've put in, that the platform allows us to provide to our agents and to our teams, is that chance to say, how do we take that 3 weeks into 2? How do we take that 14 weeks into 9? The platform allows us to do that in a very different way. So we need to ensure that our trainers, that the team leads, that the quality agents are really using what we've built and the platform to the best of its abilities. So we need to ensure that we're certifying them through our own train the trainer approach, and how to leverage the work that Jakob has built for the onboarding program with Centrical, and then with the continuous learning platform. That will be a huge part of what we do to make sure that those trainers are really leveraging what we've provided to them, to make sure that they are really getting to green in that 9 weeks, not just passing the number, but really thriving, really feeling that they are comfortable answering those consumer queries that they have every day.
Okay, that's exciting. We're also developing new tools that can help you with all of this, including AI simulations that we're going to be introducing to the platform in 2026. So I think that's something that you will take advantage of nicely. So more to come on that.
We'll be looking forward to hearing about it.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you, Jakob and Amber and Adidas, for your partnership. Congratulations on this well-deserved award. And I look forward to see what comes for you next year. As we talked about, there's the high performer out there once you get the KPIs in.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rylan. We really appreciate it.